everything's ready to go. So let's hope that as soon as we're live, we will hear. So I'm just waiting to find out. Once I see the public view, it says it's live. I can't tell. I know, right? Let's see here. All right, so it looks like that we are
Yeah.
live. It's a little choppy here to start, but hopefully it will work out just fine. So we will see. So hey, Laura.
Hi, Molly. Hi, Molly.
Okay, so I'm
How are
I'm
you?
great. So I'm going to start off the show and say, hey everybody, welcome to the Yarn Thing podcast with Marley Bird. I am Marley Bird. As you know, if you watched yesterday's podcast, I am in the middle of a huge move from Colorado to Indiana, and I don't have internet at my house right now. So I am at a Panera Bread here in Noblesville, Indiana, and I forgot my headphones today. So that's a delight, a treat. So I'm trying really hard to be quiet to not disturb the other people around me. So let's hope I do okay. I also moved as far away from the speakers as possible so that I didn't get hit with like copyright stuff with the music going in the background like Macy Gray. I was like, I can't do that. So it's the little things, right? So anyways, I am not changing the time of the podcast at all. We are still going to do it at 10 a.m. Mountain Time because I've been doing that for 12 years. So why mess with a good thing? Which means it will be 12 o'clock for me here in Indiana. So I do get a couple more hours before I get to go live, and that helps me. But the good news is none of you have to worry about any time changes, which is spectacular. I am lucky enough that I had two special guests coming on the show this week, and they have been very patient and understanding with the changes going on. And so let's say thank you to them for sure in that chat room for joining me on the show. So Laura, hello, how are you? I am going to introduce you.
I'm good.
You are the owner and voice, and I don't know why that thing keeps changing sizes on me. The person behind Jimmy Bean's Wool, and we were talking earlier that I think I had you on the show years ago on just the audio, but not the video. So this is the first time you've been on video with me. We've known each other for years, like years and years. We've had a chance to work together several times, and it's been delightful. So for the audience who might not know much about you, why don't I ask you to give them your elevator speech?
Okay, sure. I am from North Carolina originally. I was born in D.C. And then grew up in North Carolina, lived in Texas, lived in Washington State, lived in Pennsylvania, then moved to San Francisco and was a software engineer during the dot-com boom. And that's where I met my husband, Doug. And then we moved up to Lake Tahoe area to Truckee. And about 20 years ago, I can't believe it's been that, God, I can't believe it's been that long. But yeah, so 20 years ago, and I had just learned how to knit and was trying to figure out how to make a living in a town of 14,000 people, and ended up opening a yarn shop, a little yarn shop, 500 square feet. It was half yarn and half coffee because we weren't sure which was going to work in downtown Truckee, and built a website. This was in 2002. These are my dogs. Hi, Lele. So built a website to go along with the shop because we figured in a second home community, a resort town, there's no traffic. I mean, you don't get anybody during the week. So we thought we might be able to have a little bit of supplemental income if we have our website as well. And just got really lucky and built the site, and the timing was great. Knitting had become super popular at the time. Yarn was super popular. Lots of celebrities were knitting. And then we've grown the business from a little 500 square foot shop to now we have 20 some thousand square feet. And we've moved it to Reno, which is only, 30 minutes away.
Oh my
We're
gosh.
super close. So that's it in a nutshell.
It's crazy to me because whenever I hear the name Laura Zander, I think of a dreamer and an optimist and somebody who has all these really great plans and just is always moving and going, and you remind me of myself, but you're even at a level higher than me. Like you are intense, and it's great.
Different.
You just make things happen, and you're inspirational in watching your career grow over time, because it's not just that your yarn shop, Jimmy Bean's Wool, has grown over time, but the products you have decided to make on your own, or you have purchased from other wonderful women in the industry who owned different products and such. Tell us how your business grew from the yarn coffee shop to the yarn shop, and then to, okay, now I'm gonna build in products, I'm gonna build in this, I'm gonna build in that, and then I'm gonna throw in there a mix because this will allow you to talk for a while. But how much has the internet played a role in your success?
Ah, um, okay. So to historically taking the chronological view, um, started from the 500 square foot shop. And you're right. I mean, I was a runner in high school, so I ran track, and an athlete. You know, I played a lot of sports. And what I realize now in retrospect, and I like school a lot, and I like getting good grades. So I'm very driven to compete against myself, you know, and constantly like a 99 on a test is not good enough. So I need to get 100. I mean, you know, my classic story, my poor dad, he's an engineer, and I called him one time and I said, oh my gosh, I was in like eighth grade. I got 102 on a math test. And he's like, 102 out of what? And I'm like, well, out of 100. He's like, well, it's not possible that it was out of 100. It must have been more if you got 102. You can't get 102%. And I'm like, okay, so there was extra credit. Well, how much extra credit? I'm like, well, 105. I could have gotten 105. So you really got a 98 or a 99. You didn't get 102. Yes. So that's how I was raised, you know, was the nothing is ever like enough. And it's not competing against anybody else except for yourself. So I'm very driven that, okay, great. We got 5 orders today. How do I get 6? I want to get 6. And that's not necessarily a healthy approach to life. I've learned to manage it, you know, and to recognize it, but it is how I've always been, you know, since I was born. My dad will tell me stories of when I was a little kid. So anyway, so I've always just been driven that way. So when I had the small 500 square foot shop, eventually I opened a second shop in Reno because there was nothing in Reno at the time, which was 30 minutes away. So then we had 2 shops. So I was growing both of those. Then we hit about $1 million in sales. And the online business, again, the timing was just right, was just growing and growing and growing. So we decided, I'm like, how do I grow that? How do I grow that? How do I get and the only way I knew to grow it was to get our name out there more. And I'm a shameless self promoter. You know, I just am. You know, I am happy to just, yeah. You know, I walk door to door. My son, you know, if he wants to buy something, I'm like, all right, let's go to the C's candy store. I'll buy you a pack of candy, and then you can go door to door and sell it. And you pay me back for the initial investment, and you can keep the profit. And he's just like, go door to door. And I'm like, yeah, that's what you do, you know? So I literally just went door to door for a couple of very needy. Her name is Princess Leia. um, so I would try to get publicity, I guess, or notice in magazines and in areas that other yarn shops weren't trying to get notice in. So I wasn't trying to get notice in Interweave or in Vogue at the time. I was trying to get notice in business magazines because that's what I knew, and tell our story of, hey, here are a couple of software engineers. We moved to the mountains, you know, da da da. And it worked. You know, I was able to get articles, you know, CNN did a video on us. You know, we were in the Wall Street Journal, we were in the New York Times, you know, blah, blah, blah. And one of the early kind of knitting yarn shops to get that mainstream publicity. So once I had that mainstream publicity, then I could package that up and I could say to Vogue Knitting, hey, look, we're really cool. You know, like the New York Times wrote about us. You should feature us too. So then they featured us as a yarn shop and blah, blah, blah. So it just kind of took off, you know, and at the same time, my husband had started working full time for us, and he's a really, really, really clever software engineer and very strategic. And so we took this approach that everything that we did had to make Google happy and it had to make our customers happy. For example, we started doing YouTube video reviews before anybody else did, before Zappos, before Amazon. You know, we were kind of in that mix because, one, we thought our customers who couldn't come to the shop would like to hear our voice and hear what we thought about our products. So they were able to do it online. But at the same time, Google really, they had just bought YouTube. And if we had a YouTube video, when you searched for Rowan Big Wool or Madeline Tosh Vintage, then YouTube or Google would put us at the top because we made both Google happy and our customers happy. And that just made our rankings go really high, which meant that if you searched for a yarn or you even just looked for yarn, and we've always tried to appear at the top when you search for specific stuff, not just yarn. Um, so when you look for Rowan Big Wool, we were at the top, and that really helped us. I mean, that was huge, and helped us just grow and grow and grow and grow.
That's so awesome. And then I don't know, again, everybody, I'm sorry, I'm like resizing the image. Like out of nowhere, Skype all of a sudden just changes my image sizing and makes it like massive. So like it like puts your face right at the screen, like pow. So sorry. I'm trying to figure out this new system. Um, wow, it's there it is again. It's doing it over here also. This is the weirdest thing. I don't understand. So Laura, I'll tell you. So speaking of YouTube, they completely changed how I'm able to do podcasts, and so I'm trying to figure out this whole new system. And so bear with me, everybody, as we go through this. It will all be all right. As you've worked along, I mean, I often will mention things on the podcast. I love working with women-owned companies, and I love supporting women-owned companies. It's just fantastic, and I think that you have done the same. But you've even gone a step further, and you purchased one company that I actually was looking into purchasing way back when it first went on sale. Namaste. I was like, I could do
Oh,
that. I
yeah.
could do that. But it's not only Namaste. You have Della Q as well, and then you
Yeah.
have went to did you go to Turkey or India and develop your own products? And like
India.
you have just expanded amazingly. So can you talk about that a little bit?
Sure. I mean, yes. So, as you have noticed, and as many of you guys have noticed, the market has changed a lot. So, what we did in our approach 5 years ago isn't working anymore. It used to be we thought if we just carried everything, then we could be the one stop shop, kind of the target. If it was always just Webs and us. And in terms of kind of the boutique yarn shop online, and Yarn Market was there for a while. And Webs has their discount strategy, which is great for them. But that's just not who I am. I want you to be able to shop at whatever time, whenever you want, always get the same price, blah, blah, blah. I don't like the Kohl's thing. It doesn't work for my lifestyle. So anyway, as the market has changed and as people with venture capital have come in and they've got $50 million to spend, and so they can put everything on sale and they don't have to make a profit. And there are these big companies that I'm sure you're aware of that have websites that great, good for them. They're on a different path, but we're just a small family-owned business that needs to make a profit. I mean, we got to be able to. We want to give our employees raises. We want to. Continue to go. We don't have somebody, it's all our money. So anyway, so as things have changed, sales have become, and retail has changed significantly. So we've really we've really dug deep, back to my sports metaphors, and had to figure out like, how do we differentiate ourselves? What makes us different? And have really had to sit down and kind of think through it and have discovered that what makes us different, I think, is that we like to create new things. We like to shake things up. Like, you remember years ago, we sponsored the US ski team for 4 years. Um, yes, nobody else had done that. No other yarn company had sponsored the US ski team before. And for us, being the first people to do stuff is very exciting. Um, and then the rest of it comes. That's just the fun part. So we started to talk with our friends at Knitters Pride. We were in India, me and Shannon, who's our general manager, and I'd call her kind of our creative director as well. And a couple of our employees went there to visit India and film and share, the culture there and the making culture with our customers. And we were there. I was sitting in the car and I was knitting something, and I didn't know how I needed to make a change after an inch. And I'm like, and none of us had a tape measure. And I'm like, crap. So, I pull the postcard out and I fold it, in 6 pieces and whatever to get myself an inch so I know. And Shannon, who's not a knitter, is like, why don't you just paint inch markings on your knitting needle and then you'll always have it with you? And I'm like, well, isn't that clever? Like, duh. Well, I'm like, oh, of course. Why not? She's like, then you can measure stuff, but you could also check your gauge. If you do it this way, you could also do like your wraps per inch. And like, this would be the perfect multi-use tool. You never even have to get up off the couch. Well, we happened to be in the car on the way to a knitting needle factory, like at the time that we were having this conversation. So we get to the factory, Knitter's Pride, and we're like, do you think you could do this? Could you make these? And Raj Kumar, who is the head of manufacturing there, love the guy. He's real quiet, and he just kind of disappears out of the room as we're having chai. And he comes back like 15 minutes later and he's like, you mean like this? And we're just like, dude, yes, I love you. So it took another 6 months or so to like figure out how to make it work in production so that you could make 1,000 of these needles or 100 of these needles. It's really easy to do if you're just going to hand paint it on. But yeah, so we called them Smart Sticks. And that was our first real product that we launched last summer, that's just us, and it was Jimmy's Smart Sticks. I got a patent for them. Shannon's listed as the inventor, and we have sold them for the last year. And then our agreement with Knitter's Pride was that after we had sold them for a year, they could be sold to other yarn shops, under the Knitter's Pride label. And we'll get a royalty on that. So if you buy Smart Sticks at your local yarn shop, which I encourage you to do if you've got a local yarn shop, go there first, always. Always just come to us if there's something you can't find at your shop. But we'll get a small part of that as being the inventors of those. So we did that. I've got a smart watch coming out. I just got the sample 2 days ago. And that's got like a row counter on it, like a diving watch. It goes click, click, click. And then the little hands on it are a crochet hook, a knitting needle, a darning needle, the hour hand, the second hand. Right? It's got a wraparound leather band that has inch markings and centimeter markings on it and a little nice saying, make time for making. On the inside. And then it's got, the little window that you normally have on a watch that'll say Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. That changes from love, create, knit, crochet, make. It's got little sayings. So yeah, it's really special. So we're about to start production. I'm doing some more testing on it, but about to start production on that in about a week. So we'll have that in a few months. Yeah, I'm super excited. It's like the first ever like maker's watch. And we say it's a smart watch. It won't count your steps, but it will count your rows. But yeah, so I'm just trying to come up with stuff. We're lucky enough that we're at the size that, I have to order 1,000 of them. But we're at a size now where I think I can pay for 1,000 of them, and hopefully I can sell 1,000 of them in a year, which is something, 15 years ago, I couldn't have afforded to do that. So we're really, really lucky that we've got, that's what people talk about when they talk about scale. We have the scale to be able to do these things. And now, because of Namaste and being friends with Kelly for so long, who owned Namaste. So, sorry, I'm super ADHD. When we were in India working on the Smart Sticks, we were talking to Knitter's Pride about their bags. And I'm like, you know what? Kelly reached out to me a couple years ago when she was going through the divorce and had to close Namaste down and asked if we wanted to buy it. And at the time, I don't have design skills. I'm not you that way at all. I have to do exactly what you tell me to do in the pattern using the yarn you tell me to use and the color. But we were talking to Knitter's Pride and we're like, maybe you guys should design, or maybe you should buy Namaste. Like it fits, we're in India, there's a lot of yoga here. It's all about mindfulness. In fact, when I go to India, I always like take a side trip, and go somewhere that's very meditative. But so we worked with Knitter's Pride for a little while. I texted Kelly from India and said, hey, I know it's been a couple years, but would you still be willing to sell the business? I know you don't have inventory, they don't really, there's not much other than the name and the connections. So anyway, so we ended up, we all agreed that it would be best. It made sense for us to buy Namaste, for Jimmy Beans too. So we bought it about a year and a half ago, or a little over a year ago. And Kelly introduced me to Lynn Lee in China, who had been working with Kelly for 15 years. And so now Lynn Lee is my best friend. Like, we talk every day, every morning, every night. She has found watchmakers. Every project and every dream that I have, I talk with her about it, and we figure out how to make it happen. And it's been really fun for her and really fun for me. So we relaunched Namaste, just cleaned it up a little bit, modernized it a little bit, added my little inventive engineering twist to things by patenting a yarn feeder. We added those to the purses. We created the train case. I go to China. I've been 4 times now, and I just go and I look around at all of the things that are being made for other industries, and I'm like, that would be really cool. So anyway, so we've got Namaste now, and then Della Q as well. Della reached out. She had, her lease was up, and she'd been doing it for 10 plus years, and was just ready. She was an accountant, and was ready to kind of go back to being an accountant. And reached out and said, hey, would this be a good fit for you? And we were like, absolutely. Like, we're having so much fun with Namaste, and being able to create things and being able to do our own thing. So we picked up Della Q, and I went to Vietnam, and then I went to China right afterwards and met with Lean, who had been working with Della since day one, and her husband, and spent a week with them, and we traveled, and we went to North Vietnam and met the Black Hmong people, who have this traditional indigo dyeing batik textile art of creating this fantastic fabric. And so we bought a bunch of that, and now they're making this fabric for us. So we're working on telling those stories, and we've redesigned everything with Della. So it's very exciting.
So I had to unmute myself. So I was told that if I mute myself, they won't get an echo. So I was like, remember to unmute yourself when you need to talk. So this is the problem of not having the headphones. So I apologize. Learning all of this stuff, got to do this. Okay, so one, love the measuring thing on the knit needles. When you came out with that, I was like, well, duh. Like, why didn't I think about that? That's brilliant. And then
for sure,
when I saw that you got Namaste, I think you probably remember, like, I saw it on Facebook. I'm like, oh my God, Laura, did you buy Namaste?
I remember.
I love Namaste bags. I think they're fantastic. I mean, they're just great bags. I love that transition happened. You did modernize them, and they're coming up to a different style, but it's still Namaste. Like, I saw it, I was like, that's Namaste. And so that was really great to be able to see. And then the Della Q thing, I mean, that's fantastic, because she's so known, you know what I mean? Like, her product is so well known, and the fact that now you're going to represent that product, that just makes sense to me. I love, it's like you're picking and choosing the right companies to really go into your mix. I was going to say something about the Namaste bags. I actually really like the idea that it was 2 years ago that Namaste went away. It kind of gave everybody a chance. This is going to sound bad, a chance to miss them, and then you buy them, you bring them back, and then it's like, okay, this is really good. You know what I mean? So I think it's just brilliant. And I know that the train case is the one that all of my friends are just gaga about, and so it's kind of neat to watch you designing all this and doing what you need to do. Again, I don't know why the split screen is small again. Like, I have no idea. I don't know, guys. I'm doing the best I can. It's like all of a sudden it gets big, then it gets small. So we'll make this work.
It's an adventure. It's like LSD.
They're cutting bread here. Of course they are. Right when I'm going to talk, they're going to cut bread. What do you do? Um, lost my train of thought
It's better than them cutting the cheese.
I know, right? It's great. It's great. When you think about Jimmy Bean's Wool and the future of Jimmy Bean's Wool, like where else can you go? I mean, we didn't even touch on the fact that you did things with, well, we did talk about the ski team, but you've done things with major motion pictures in the past. And is any of that going to happen in the future? And like, what do you foresee for yourself?
Um, I foresee us doing, and I don't say this nonchalantly, I guess, or flippantly, but I foresee us getting back in the business of doing everything that we can to grow the fiber arts community. So when I say that, one of the reasons and the primary drivers of doing major motion pictures and having Hugh Jackman knit for us was I want people in the world and in the country to see knitting. I want to grow the industry. And I happen to believe that like a rising tide lifts all boats. And so if we focus on growing the industry, because that's what we like doing, it's super fun. And that's, we are knitters, and all these guys have done fantastic jobs of that as well. And they've come about it from a very design, fashion perspective. And we come about things from a little more fun, if you will, a little, I don't know, a little more rebellious, I guess. But um, I believe that if we keep doing that, then, and we keep just kind of having fun with it and making noise, that the business will grow, or maybe it won't. I don't really care at this point. I just want us to have fun, and I want the people that I work with, whether it's the people that work for us or people like you, I want all of us to be able to make a living. That's super, super important to me. How do we make sure that designers are paid more than a living wage? How do we make sure that this is a financially and economically sustainable kind of industry for all of us? That's what drives me, and that's what drives me, when it comes to like working with women-owned businesses. It's also small family-owned businesses that really, really, really is important to me. And I think people forget, even us. I mean, we have, let's say 40 employees. That's 40 people who I know that in some ways might make us seem like we're big, or depending on the lens you have, we're very small. But that's 40 people make a living, a super living wage, which is more than a lot of people in our industry, who are quote unquote self-employed. So it's important to me.
That's so absolutely true.
Yeah. So whatever form that takes, I mean, I just want, I mean, I just want everybody to be happy, and I want people to be able to make a living doing creative things. And even our employees, like, yes, somebody's job is to pull orders and ship orders out, but it's a creative job. They pick out colors and they figure out, do these colors match? And they call customers and they figure out new ways to pull things and to stock things so that, everybody that works for us is creative, like almost everybody. It's really cool.
All right, so is that me? Yeah, okay. I'm making sure I unmuted myself so that people can hear me. Because I have two sources here, and I'm not sure which one to unmute. So maybe this one? I don't know. We'll see. They'll tell me if they can't hear me all of a sudden. But it's the time in the show that we give away a prize. So maybe I'll do this. I'll just go to just me and I will let everybody know, hey, y'all. So we are going to give away prizes here. Laura in Jimmy Bean's Wool has been very generous, and they are going to give away two prizes. One to somebody who is listening live here to the show, and one to somebody who leaves a comment on the show notes. So I will read what I have right here because this is really great. So it says, here's the prize to the live listener. It is the Namaste Makers Circle Bag. It is a $75 value, you guys. And let me see here. Yep, everybody says they can still hear me, so that's good. It says, our Maker's Circle Bag was mindfully designed for those who want the Maker's Line convenience in a cute, compact handbag with plenty of room for your phone, small wallet, notions, and small knitting project. The Circle Bag is ideal for grabbing a few moments of peace throughout your busy day. Crafted from vegan leather and including knitting specific features like our Lotus yarn feeder turns your handbag into a yarn bowl. A key leash doubles as a tape measure, and a decorative tassel equipped with an emergency stitch marker. The Namaste Maker's Circle Bag is designed to help you find making nirvana wherever you are. Dude, that is so cool. So here are details. Maker's Circle details, designed specifically for crafters, sturdy vegan leather, BPA and PVC free, comfortably fits the Namaste Small O Snap pouch, not included. 2 open interior pockets. It ensures that your phone and notions and accessories are both secure and handy. Our signature 4 Lotus lining is PVC free, wipeable, and cleans easily. Outfitted with hardware in a sleek gold color, 4 metal feet on the bottom provides stability and protection. Oh my gosh, everybody is commenting in the chat room right now that they want this bag. Well, the good news is, you guys, you get the chance to win the bag, but even if you don't, if you go to jimmybeanswool.com, you can buy the bag yourself. How many colors does the bag come in, Laura?
This one comes in 4.
Okay.
Just 4 colors. And they're like springtime colors.
Awesome. So if you are listening live, you guys, and so right now it is 12:45 p.m. On the Eastern Standard Time. As you know, I'm in Indiana now, which is East Coast time. It's the weirdest thing. And so I want you to write Jimmy Beans in the chat. I want you to write Jimmy Beans in the chat for a chance to win this. Okay, so right now, if you're in the live chat, write Jimmy Beans. Now, as you know, we are always lucky enough to have guests that give away prizes to those of you who are not able to listen live. So let's say thank you, Laura. And for those of you who are going to leave a comment on the show notes, which I have already linked to in the video description of this video, you can find the show notes, which always take you to my website. And it'll give you a brief synopsis about Jimmy Beans Wool, all the links that you need to follow them on social media, so on and so forth. You'll leave a comment at the end of that blog post. And you are entering for a chance to win the Jimmy Beans Deluxe Smart Sticks Interchangeable Set, $129.90 value. Holy moly, guys. And these are the smart sticks that Laura was talking about earlier with the measuring bit on the knitting needles themselves. It says a knitting needle and tape measure in one. Dang, that's smart. Jimmy's Smart Sticks Interchangeable Needle Set have needles that are color-coded by size and marked at I'm thinking that 1-inch intervals on both the needles and the cord, so you can measure your knitting creations on the go. Heck, you can measure your gauge and do wraps per inch if you want as well. Each set contains everything you need: 9 pairs of tips in US sizes 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 10 and a half, 11. 4 cords, 1 20-inch, 2 24-inch, and 1 32-inch. And end stoppers, a cord key, all wrapped in a black and gray fabric case. That is amazing. That is a huge gift. That is so generous of you. Thank you very much. So everybody that is wanting to enter that, and you don't have to, you can enter both. If you're watching live, you can still enter in the comment section as well. You want to make sure that when you leave a comment, your keyword is Jimmy. All right, Jimmy is your keyword. Laura, thank you for all of that.
Oh, of course. Thank you. Thanks for doing so much to grow this community.
Oh, thanks. I'm trying my best. I do what I can when I can. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to scroll up and down through the comments that people are leaving to win the Namaste bag. And you tell me when to stop. Wherever my cursor lands, that will be the lucky winner.
Stop.
All right. I always get shocked by, Aida Hartman. I know her. Aida is a longtime fan of the Yarn Thing podcast. Aida Hartman, congratulations. She's fantastic. I had a chance to meet her last year at Woodstock when I was there for an event, and she's amazing. So Aida, congratulations. You are the lucky winner.
Neat.
So I'll have you email me winner@yarnthingpodcast.com. I will put that in here too so that you know. And what do you need from her? Just her mailing address and phone number? Does she get to pick the color, or are you sending her any color?
Yeah, and then pick a color.
Okay.
Yeah, pick a color. Any color that we have.
All right, email us. I'm going to write this. And while I'm writing this out, why don't you take a moment and tell people how they can follow Jimmy Beans on social media?
Sure. So you can follow us. Obviously, come to our website. You can go to Instagram and follow us at Jimmy Beans Wool or Make Namaste or manager, and she's amazing, like super, super, super cool. So she gets back to everybody right away. If you have any questions, you can always ping me. She's kind of set me up with my own Instagram account, which is Laura Zander. But I'm not as good. The kids these days, you know?
I keep telling my son all summer long, I was like, I need you to run my Instagram account. And he would be like,
Totally.
all right, mom. And then he never, like, we kind of, in his defense, we had a very crazy summer. But I'm just like, it's time. You need to run my Instagram account because these kids, they know all the things. And they will tell you that they know all the things.
How old is he again?
He is 15. So I have a 17-year-old daughter, 15-year-old son, and the 13-year-old. The 13-year-old helps me out with the videos when he can. So he's all about video production. Yeah. And then my daughter is knitting. So she learned to knit, and she actually helped me make a couple of projects for my latest book with Leisure Arts. And her picture is in the book. You can see her very first hat she ever made. It's kind of cute. So anyways, it's pretty cool.
Well, I need to just vent a little bit, or not vent, but cry. So my son his name's Huckleberry, and he's 10, and he just went to summer camp for a week away, spending the night. And he called last night, and he was crying, and he was homesick, and he said he couldn't sleep. And so I guess that's normal, right? That they get homesick.
I think so.
Oh my gosh, it broke my heart.
I know, right? My 13-year-old, he and the 15-year-old have been really strong through this move, and they've been like, okay, let's do this. And I picked Josiah up from school yesterday, and he was just not himself, and he had football practice still. And I was like, what's wrong, honey? And he didn't want to tell me. And at first I was like, Mama Bear was like, who said something to you? Because I would kick their butt, right?
I'll get it with a needle.
That's right. I was like, I will get them. And his first statement out of his mouth was, why did we have to move? I just hate it here. And he was just sad. He misses his friends. And I'm like, oh, buddy, I'm so sorry. I mean, it's hard as adults to pick up and move, and the amount of money that's going out the door is outrageous. But I mean, for kids, my daughter, she's a senior in high school. My son is a sophomore, and then my youngest is an 8th grader. And so, I remember how important your friendships and stuff are at that age as well. I mean, I still have long-term friends from that age, but it's got to be so difficult. But it's like, we will persevere through this. You will be stronger than you were before, and you're going to be great. So we're just doing the best we can. But I want to get back into a rhythm. I need to get back into a flow, and not doing a podcast here at Panera is the first step.
Come on, it's an adventure.
It is an adventure. Absolutely.
You know what? It could be potentially, and here's a press release, first ever yarn-related podcast out of a Panera Bread.
There we go.
First one. Never been done in the world before. Like, how cool is that?
That's awesome. And all of a sudden, when you said that, Skype made your picture like super big again. So it's awesome. Right. I'm like, well, whatever. What do you do? Laura, I love chatting with you. I could chat with you for hours. You need to have me come to Reno sometime and hang out with you guys, because I would love that. And just
that'd be super fun.
Awesome. Always keep me in mind for a job, my friend, because I would love working for you. I can just imagine the inspiration that would just jump all over the place. It'd be great.
It does jump all over the place.
Well, congratulations in everything that you do. You are truly an inspiration in all of it, and I'm so happy that DelaQ and Namaste are in great hands. Such a great idea with the smart sticks, and I just can't wait to see what else you come up with in the future.
Yay! All right, we've got some things coming up, so
all right,
we'll keep you posted.
Good. That's awesome.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
I love this. All right, everybody, that's it for the Yarn Thing podcast today. I hope you enjoyed it. Honestly, did the best I could. So that's where we are.
You did great.
I did. Thanks. Next week, I do believe we have another show coming up. I should have my internet by then, but if it's not working well, I'll be back here at Panera. I will talk to you guys again soon. Bye.
Yay.